Hello and welcome to Ask the Crown. I'm Stephanie McGrain, and today I am so excited to have Chris Franz joining me. Chris is a phenomenal pageant coach, and I'm so excited to have him. Welcome, Chris.
Hi, Stephanie. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm so excited.
So happy to have you. Now, Chris, tell us, what made you decide to get involved in coaching clients, and how long have you been coaching?
Okay, Stephanie, that's a good question. I think what happened was I started judging pageants, and then the day or two after the pageants, the girls would contact me to find out if there was a way I thought they could improve. And so one thing just led into another, and I began really intensively interviewing, coaching, right out of the gate, and then from there it just blossomed. A good friend of mine taught me a lot about wardrobe, style, design, makeup people I met as I went along the way, and it just blossomed into everything. So here I am, full service coach, doing it all. So it's great.
Well, now, what should someone look for in a coach? What would you say is the most important thing to look for?
Wow. Okay. I think there's got to be a personal relationship between a client and a coach to a point where you have to be able to talk to each other honestly. There's a lot of awkward times in things that needed to be discussed. So you have to trust one another, and a lot of not a lot of coaches, but some coaches will just tell you what you want to hear, or they even call themselves coaches. But I'm not here to sound on other coaches. I'm here to talk about what I do, and I really have a whole process of finding out who the girls are, finding out their personality, and I have a 3 or 4 page form. I mean, I need as many details as possible because let's face it, in this business, details make all the difference at the end of the day on that in the winner's circle. So it's all about details.
Well, now I hear you saying being honest, trusting, that makes for a great coach-client relationship. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, it does, because if you have to be able to communicate. And my girls need to tell me everything, and it's so funny because you almost become like a therapist to some, but just kidding. But it is. It's a personal relationship because you're going to be talking about your body, your mind. You're going to be talking about wardrobe, things the way they fit, the way they need to fit. There's a lot involved in pageantry, and for the first-time pageant girls, it can be overwhelming. So I try to make that transition as smooth as possible. And that's one of the keys, I think, that personal inner relationship.
How do you know if the relationship is working? Lots of times I've heard girls say they're working with a coach, but they don't feel comfortable with that person. How do you know? How do you know if you're with the right coach or if it's time to move on to a new coach?
Well, again, I think that comes down to, in this business, a lot of it is references. And let's face it, if you start posting winners and if you start posting winners in all the systems, then it's going to be pretty obvious that you're doing something right. A lot of women will contact me. I can do everything. I'll do everything for you, as I did with my Mrs. Rhode Island America contestant. We worked on everything together, hand in hand. She would come down here and work with me. We picked wardrobe out. There's an exchange there, and I think that if a coach is just coaching you to take your money or whatever the reason, I think you can sense that. I make it clear to my girls up front that I'm going to need a certain level of dedication from them, and I'll give them everything I have in return. So it's got to be done that way. I'm a stickler for detail, and I'm a stickler for making the client feel comfortable.
Oh, and I think that's so important. Now, I know you have many specialties, and one of them is stage presence. So tell us, how do you go about teaching that to your clients?
It's a good point. And because of my entertainment background and because of the women I've worked with in the music business, stage presence is everything. As a matter of fact, right now I have two girls who participated in pageants, and their problem was their stage walk. So we need to work on that. But a lot of girls come out, I'm telling you, and I judge a lot, Stephanie, and I've seen just about everything that can possibly happen on stage. And you'd be amazed at how many girls get so nervous they forget to smile. And I know you've seen it a ton of times. You've judged a lot too. And it
Right.
just blows me away that you're given this moment, and you better be taking advantage of it. Now there's a lot of ways we do that, and coaching stage presence is all about smile, poise, personality. It all has to shine. Of course there's a walk. Of course there's a way to do it. And so you have to coach it as if you're out there, you're in front of all these people. You need to be aware of the audience. You need to be aware of the judges. But at the same time, you don't want to come off as cocky or arrogant. Or so that's a whole. It's just like music industry, just like entertainment. You've got your moment to shine. You better put it out there and give everyone what they want.
Agreed. So how do you do that? If there's a fine line between being cocky and confident, how do you show the confident side of you? What
Okay.
would you recommend?
If depending, and you know, this is what we talk about when we work together in person and we work on walks across stage, whether it's in swimsuit or evening gown. I got to know the system. First of all, the system's very important because, as you know, the stage walk in USA can be a lot different than the stage walk in Miss America, and the same with the women, the married women, and everything else. You have to know the system. You have to look and study the system. But I like my girls to go out there and almost look. In other words, when they hit their points on stage, it never hurts to give a little nod, a little smile, a little nod, and show in the way you place your hands on your hips that you're confident when you take your stance, when you make your 3 points on stage. Sell it. Sell it. It's all about selling who you are. And if you're confident and you do that, then that'll show. And believe me, it takes practice. It does take practice. You should see me try to teach the walk, and I do it.
Yes, I want to see that.
Well, then you're going to have to schedule some time with me. That's all.
I'll definitely be doing that.
I've done workshops, and trust me, some of the younger girls, the junior teens and everything, they're a little clumsy at that age. And you know, one of my favorite tips and one of my favorite tricks, and I have a client that I worked with in Alabama, just totally an interview though, but she used to put her heels on. She was 15 years old, and she would put her heels on and vacuum the whole house in those heels just to get used to wearing them. Another client of mine said she wears hers on the treadmill. Now, I don't know how that works out for her, but you know what? Her walk is flawless. But the junior teens, the younger girls who are not used to the heels, one of the tips I say is try to imagine you're on the red carpet or you're going to an event, and maybe you're going to a father-daughter dance and you're on your father's arm and you want to make an elegant appearance. Just walk naturally. And so the way I practice with those younger girls is I say, take my arm and we'll walk together. And as we walk, we talk, and we get it done. It's something I do that makes the younger girls feel more comfortable, because then they feel like I'm there as a crutch, let's say. And then I let them fly on their own until they get it right. You know, we do the serpent, and I throw the hips, and then we just make it work.
So depending on the age of the client and the system they're competing in, do you really tailor your coaching specifically to each client?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's another important part about being a diverse coach and knowing all your pageant systems. And believe it or not, the married women, you know, my roots are in the Mrs. pageants, and the Mrs. contestants sometimes can be a lot harder, believe it or not, because they're coming off of a long, maybe perhaps it's been 10 years, they've had their children, they started their career, now all of a sudden they're getting back into it. Some of them make that transition easily, some of them don't. And I found that a lot of them lose maybe their interview skills or their ability and confidence in a swimsuit to go on stage. And that's hard for anyone to do. And so, yeah, you have to be aware of each system so you can gear it towards that. I mean, let's face it, USA is all about the glam. It's all about the glamour of it. And where Miss America is all about interview and style and poise and classic, you know, the way that everyone sees beauty pageants. So, yes, it's very important to know the systems.
Okay, now Chris, do you work with clients across the country?
Yes.
Well, how do you do that? How do you work with clients who are so far away from you? What is your technique for coaching them?
Okay, well, technology is a big help there. Technology works. If most of my clients across the country want to do interview work, and we do interview work, and that's easily done on Skype, it's easily done on the telephone, or any kind of video communication now works. If I'm doing everything it's really not that hard, Steph, because with technology, at certain salons and certain gown salons and things that we do, they'll actually plug me in real time and live on Skype or whatever the social media is, and I will watch the entire gown process. One of the things that I instill in my girls up front, whenever they go shopping for anything, you need to send me photos. Send me photos right then and there. Get me on the phone, you know, we'll discuss it that way. So it's really not as difficult as you think. It's really not. We go shopping together online, the clients and I. We look at what we want gown-wise, and then, okay, is this going to work for you? Can you get it near where you are? I have a client in Idaho. There's not a lot of big opportunities, a lot of big shopping areas in Idaho where she lives. I mean, wow, she's close to the Montana border, and I'm sure, well, I think when she does most of her shopping when she goes to San Diego to visit relatives. So, I mean, just imagine that. You're out there, nothing around, and so but it's doable. It can be done. And I love it. I love figuring it out.
That's perfect. So then you can be there when the clients are shopping for their evening gown, any other wardrobe. You're
Absolutely.
there to work on interview skills, everything. So technology, fabulous.
It is. It is. And of course, you know, I can go to them. They can come to me too. And a lot of my clients come to me. And so we work right here in my home and we get it done. So, of course,
Okay.
you know, again, it comes down to the budget. What's your budget?
Right.
And so, but yeah, it's totally doable. Totally doable.
Okay, now Chris, give
Yes.
us a couple of your very best pageant tips.
Wow. Very best pageant tips. Well, you know, let's talk about stage presence again. A lot of women will not remember when they go out and they're hitting their 3 points on stage or whatever they're allowed. Some systems now use the long runway. You know, let's not forget to acknowledge the judges. A lot of women will not look at the judges. And I always say, look down towards the judges. You don't have to make eye contact with specific judges, although some girls do, but a lot of them forget about that. And a lot of them get so nervous they close their eyes. So again, one of my biggest tips is before you go out on stage, before you go out or actually before you go to interview, you're backstage, it's your turn coming up. You have to take that deep breath and you breathe. And once you take that deep breath and inhale, that naturally throws your shoulders back to where they should be. It puts your chest where it should be. And when you exhale, exhale slow. Now you're in perfect posture. So now you should relax yourself and go out. I cannot tell and emphasize how important that is, because a lot of women will be so tense. If you just do that simple breathing exercise before you go out, it's going to lift you up naturally. It's going to give you that poise. It's going to give you that style. Another big tip is, please pay attention to the choreographer of the pageant, because we can walk on, and I do, we work on fast-paced walking on stage, we work on slow-paced walking on stage, but I don't know what that choreographer or that director is going to have the theme for their pageant, so I don't know what to expect. But please, please, please pay attention to what they want you to do. I've seen so many girls who decide they want to do it their way, and it really, really, really is not good for anyone, Steph. It's not good for anyone. So I think it's another good tip is pay attention to the choreographer. It's your moment to shine, whether it's a minute, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Take advantage of it, and the way you do that is be part of that entire group. And then with the skills that I give you, you maximize that on stage. And I think another great tip too, if we want to go back to interview, you know, it's when you sit down, or if it's panel, you have to stand, make that eye contact with the judges. Don't be staring above their heads. Don't be looking down. Don't be closing your eyes. The secret is always look into the right eye or the forehead if you're not sure. Those are just little things, but you'd be amazed how many women, like I said, I judge all the time. And getting back to systems, this is how I know what's required in every system, because I judge every system. So I'm very familiar with rules. I'm very familiar with interview time, stage time, fitness wear, swimsuit. So that's how I'm aware of everything. Plus I keep up on it too. And plus, of course, I write for the Platform magazine, which April issue is going to be crazy. It's going to be insane. Sarah Cameron is going to be our cover model for April, and she is a fitness model out of Utah who's had 5 children. She's 36 years old. She's a single mom, and wait till you see her stuff.
Wow.
That's inspiration beyond inspiration for all the women out there that want to do a pageant again. So,
it sounds like it. How can we get a copy of the Platform magazine?
you can go to theplatformmagazine.com. We have it available in hard copy for purchase. You can also view it for free and electronically. And I believe the new issue will come out on Thursday. So the Platform has it all. It's all about inspirational stories. And really at the end, one of the things that I coach, and when I start coaching, is that we coach from here first, Stephanie. We coach from the heart out. And that's one of the first things I discuss with my clients, because if you're beautiful in here, we can make you beautiful out there. And if you're beautiful in here, it'll just naturally show. So
I love that.
there you go. That's the way it is, and that's where I start coaching, right here.
Okay, now I have a question.
Go ahead.
Some coaches take the hard approach, kind of the tough love. This is the way it is. Is that your approach, or are you the more nurturing and, you know, patting people on the back and saying you can do it? What type of coach are you?
Okay, here. All right, that's a good question. I have to be. It's easily put. It's the same in the music business. I have to be your #1 fan. I have to be your biggest fan. I'm the one who has to believe in you first. Okay. Well, no, actually, you have to believe in you first. I have to be your #1 fan. I'm not that hard-pushing coach unless you want me to be that hard-pushing coach. One of the first thing I'll say to you is, what are your 3 weaknesses, but also, what are your 3 strengths? So that kind of puts you on the spot as a client, because if you can't give me 3 and 3, then that's where we need to work. And tough line, tough love, no. I have a great rapport with my clients, because we talk face to face. We talk a lot on the phone. And again, this is how I get to know you. Once I get to know you inside and outside, then we can fix whatever you feel is broken. So A lot of women today are just not as confident. Like I said, the married women especially, when they're coming off a long hiatus, and it's tough, you know, it's tough, but we get it done. We get it done.
Awesome. Well, you had so many fabulous tips for us today. You are an incredible coach with
Oh,
a
thank you.
long list of winners. So, viewers, if you want to book Chris, if you want to
Okay.
work with him to win your next pageant, send me an email at askthecrown@gmail.com. First-time clients will receive 20% off of the regular fees. So you want to work with Chris to win that next pageant. Chris, I really appreciate you taking the time to join me today.
Thank you, Stephanie. It's always a pleasure to be on Pageant Live and Ask the Crown, so I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's great to have you. And thanks to the viewers for tuning in. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Thank you. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.